Good morning. Last night we had a meeting of our church leadership, our elders and our deacons and our staff, and I kind of confessed to them that when we have been filming the worship services for Sunday morning, we have not filmed the worship service in order from start to finish, but rather we set the camera for a particular shot, I guess you would say, and then everything that's going to happen in that frame we do, and then we move it and set it again, and then we move it and set it again. And so I told them that this week we actually started the service with the benediction, and that was just so odd for me to stand there and offer a benediction before we had the actual service. And I also teased them and said, whenever we get back to normal, we're going to train the congregation that now the service starts with a benediction, and it maybe will end with the announcements, and who knows what. And of course that's not the case. But I say that to also mention to you, in spite of the fact that we are filming out of order and we aren't going through the normal order, it's been very important to me that service not just be, and the filming not just be producing content, but that we really worship. And for me, it's important that I worship during a worship service, that I am a worship leader and there is a responsibility I have to lead worship and make sure that things are flowing smoothly. But that can't take over the responsibility I also have simply to worship with each person. And so it's been important to me that service be a worship service, even though it's interrupted by moving a camera around and getting sound checks and this kind of thing, that each element I'm able to worship in. And one of the ways that I've done that in the prayers of the people is that I'm still kneeling at the kneeler when I'm doing the prayers of the people. Now, you're not seeing that on the screen. I just feel so strongly that prayer is not performance art, and I don't want you watching me praying, and I don't think that's all that good film anyway. And so we've been trying to find a stained glass window to focus on a little bit during that part of the service. But I am kneeling, and I'm kneeling because I don't want this just to be a simulated prayer. I want this to truly be a prayer that comes from my heart. And I love the fact that our sanctuary has kneelers and that we have the opportunity to actually put ourselves in a posture of prayer. It's in a posture of prayer, a posture that we don't use for almost anything else. We almost never kneel except if we are kneeling in prayer. And for me, that is a way for me to train my body to pray. It's a way for me to acknowledge that we tend to have this false sense of body and soul, and that somehow we are this soul trapped in our body. But in fact, our bodies and our souls are completely integrated, much the way that our muscles and our skeletons are. And my muscles would be absolutely no good without my bones, and my bones are absolutely no good without my muscles. They all have to be together, or it's not a coherent whole. That's what body and soul is. So I say all of that to say that this morning I want to share with you a single verse of Scripture, and then I want us to practice a way that we can actually live out this Scripture in prayer. The verse is 1 Peter 5:7, and it quite simply and beautifully says, "Cast all your anxiety on God, because He cares for you." Life in just ordinary times is full of anxiety. Life now has even more anxiety. Cast all of your anxiety upon God, because He cares for you. Easy to say, a little harder to do. I want to offer to you an exercise today that might help you if you're thinking, well, how do I turn over the anxiety that I have to God? And you can almost see it in the way that I just responded. So what I want us to do is, if you will, and I'm sitting here without a table or anything so you can see me a little bit, I want you, if you're seated, to adopt an open posture. And by that I mean don't have your legs crossed, don't have your arms crossed, because we actually humans are so good at blocking stuff. And when I do something like this, I'm actually not only trying maybe to be comfortable or whatever, but I am blocking the ability to maybe for me to hear what you have to say, or maybe the ability to hear what God might have for me. And so have an open posture. Your legs, your ankles, your hands, none of them are crossed. And take your hands and place them palm down. You can place them on your knees if you want, or if you're at a table, you can place them on the table. And I want for us to just simply spend a few moments thinking about our anxiety. And I won't bother to name some things you might be anxious about. You are perfectly capable of doing that yourself. But let's just spend a few moments not even casting our anxiety yet, but just simply thinking about the things that are causing us anxiety right now. The way that we are going to cast our anxiety on God is quite simply rolling your hands over and opening them up. And hopefully what you feel there is a lightness. You feel that anxiety maybe leaving you a little bit. It also opens you up to receive what God might have for you. And so let us now, continued with our hands open, receive from God what God might have for you. It may be a feeling. It may even be something that you, with the ear of your soul, hear God say to you. But let us receive from God. Now that may be a little strange for you. You may have never done anything like that before, and it maybe made you uncomfortable. I'm not quite sure how that's going to translate to being recorded either. But let me invite you to practice that a little today or in the days to come when you're feeling anxious, or even before you feel anxious, a couple of times a day. Palms down. What am I anxious about? Palms up, casting my anxiety to God and recognizing that when I cast my anxiety to God, God is also offering me peace and hope. God is with us. Amen.